Hi, this is Trent Clark, host of Winners Find a Way show. I'm a CEO of Leadership at a international speaker, serial entrepreneur, and longtime coach in professional baseball, where I coached over 12 years, coached three different organizations in the World Series with the Indians twice, and with my buddy Bobby Magallanes and the Los Angeles Angels. So pretty awesome. Bobby Magallanes, now coach of the Atlanta Braves. Welcome, buddy.
Yeah, man, Trent, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure being here, bud.
Oh man, I'm so happy because I've been looking forward to us doing this for months. So this is exciting. And the shirt, look at the shirt. Sit tall, Bobby. Show us the shirt, man. Mentally strong. Look at you're all cut up too, dude.
Yeah.
You're physically and mentally strong. Look at you. I love it. So for this show, folks, hey, have you ever faced stiff adversity? Have you ever been up against it and feeling like, hey, I got to find a better way. I got to get out of this. I'm in a bit of a funk. I'm going to get it better. In baseball, Bobby, we know about slumps. We know about, overcoming. And this guy has had a great journey through adversity to get to always knowing exactly where he wanted to be. So if you're in that position today, you are in the right place. You're going to learn some great things about overcoming. If you are an entrepreneur, an athlete, a business leader, or you're just simply looking to get elite, I think this is the perfect podcast and place for you. So welcome to my good friend, Bobby Magallanes, who I think, Bobby, will be coached 6-7 years together with the Angels.
Yeah, man, great memories. That's where we met, and it was fun, man. That was a great run there with the Angels too.
Yeah, great run. Great run. We had a lot of fun. A lot of change, right? A lot of change and adaptability going on during that time. We saw changes in management, changes in executive leadership, just a lot of things that we survived kind of through it, and always fun. For you, we'll have some Q&A at the end, so we're going to hold questions to the end of our chat. And but please, if you have anything, get it to us, and we'll also find out where you can find Bobby. So, Bobby, tell them where that you can find you online. Like, hey, if I want to talk to Bobby Magallanes, you're on LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn, and also on Instagram at
Yes.
Magallanes Bobby. And also, I have a hitting account on Instagram called Swing Ugly, so you can reach me on both.
Swing Ugly. Yes,
Yes.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I heard that from a lot of coaches actually. So I don't know if I love that. like,
Yeah. We can get into that later about what that means. Why Swing Ugly?
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm just telling kids right now, man, like just swing, man. Some good things happen when you do it, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk
Yes,
a
exactly.
few key highlights for all of you out there. If you do not know Bobby Magallanes, and you're going to want to, this guy, 32 years of professional baseball, 13 as a player, 19 as a coach. Man, this is in your blood. You were drafted twice, high school with the Expos, and then out of Cerritos Junior College by the Mariners, which is when you signed, right? You signed with the Mariners on
Right.
a second shot. Played for Team USA in 1989 for you kids out there. That's a 19 in front of it. Part of 6 championships, 12 as a pro, as a player, in pro ball. So hitting coach 4 years in rookie ball, manager, Texas League champion as a manager. That's AA ball for those who don't know. White Sox, bench coach, AAA of the Indians, now home of the Toronto Blue Jays. AAA hitting coach at the Braves, Scottsdale Scorpions Fall League. You've been through a lot of different leagues, probably everything from developing the premier athlete at the major league level. Now you coach the premier athlete at that elite level, saying, hey, now the challenge is not to get here, it's to stay here. And we know how hard that is, right?
Yes.
You've
Yes.
also you've also improved your own development by developing scouting skills and going into the scouting world of what are scouts looking for. As a coach, learn, hey, this is what we're looking for out front. This is what we want to develop those folks into. So I love that. What most people don't know about you, Bobby, because you were drafted out of junior college, is you've got your bachelor's degree in management at the young age of 45 years old and a master's degree at 50 in performance psychology, which we're going to talk a lot about today. How about that?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it definitely kind of later in my life is when kind of had the fruits of all the hard work and perseverance. But yeah, I mean, I got my education later in life.
Yeah, I think it's always been hard work and perseverance with you. But I'll tell you one thing I love about you, and I've always loved this: man of faith and a man that's always joyful. Like, we have had plenty of trials together, you and I. Like the players and management wants something different from us, and we have to pivot, and there could be a lot of reasons to get down. But you have smiled through this journey better than probably anybody I've known along the way. So I really honor that about you, man.
Thanks, Trent. Yeah, it's definitely nothing's easy, but again, it's just battling through everything, and like you said, persevere, and in time you'll reap those rewards.
So I caught you on the road today. Where are you at in the world?
We're in Philadelphia right now.
In Philly, gonna play the mighty Phillies tonight, and 7:30 Wago.
7:05.
7:05 Wago. So now, why don't you quickly explain to them, Bobby? Like, people think like this is for people who don't know. I want them to understand this. People think like, oh, hey, you're a pro athlete. You show up at 6 like we do at the Little League, and we take a couple balls in the cage, and then we go hot at 7:05, right? Like, is that how pro ball is? Is that how it works, Bobby?
No, we're there pretty early. Actually, we're there really early, especially as a coach. We're there to prepare. We're there to get the scouting report on the opposing pitcher, opposing team, get the players ready. I mean, they're there early in the cage to get their routines going in the cage, and work on their hitting. And then we actually have batting practice before the game, and then we play the game. So we're there about 5 hours, 6 hours before game time.
Well, and then of course the post. Right. And then there's all the post work to do, the reporting, the breakdown, the one-on-one discussions. So what I always thought, my days started in pro ball on the road at noon. At noon, I got to the ballpark for the 7:05 game, and I typically left at midnight after the last guy was done working out. I mean, there's a lot of post workout, right? So that was standard operating procedure for me. It's a 12-hour day on the road, and sometimes that can very easily be 18 for me, when a lot of people go, hey, you know what I like to do, coach? I like to go to the local gym at 7. I'm a starting pitcher, and I didn't even play yesterday. So, hey, I'm thinking, why don't you and I go down to the local, name your gym, right? And your name your local fitness establishment, right? LA Fitness, whatever. And we're there at 8 a.m. And I'm usually there with 2 hours with a number of athletes, come back, maybe get my workout in, and then I'm at the ballpark by noon. So standard days. Pro ball is not exactly like show and go, right? Like we do with the kids. It is a lot of work.
Right. Yeah, you nailed it. It is.
So, Bobby, tell us a little bit why I asked you to do the show. Hey, this is Winners Find a Way, Bobby. You've always found a way. We want to hear from you. Winners find a way. Why do you come on and do something like this? Why do you come on and talk about things?
Well, first of all, I like to encourage people. I like to teach. I like to coach. I like to inspire, and I like for people to get better. I mean, that's just my passion right now, and I want them to hear my story as well. We get inspired by people's stories. We get inspired by other people and their testimonies, and because it's truthful. It's like, man, this guy did, I can do it too. So I want to just encourage people out there to just keep at it, what they want to do, and go forward.
Is this shirt a Bobby Magallanes original, or where can I pick one up, bro? Because I want one, man. Like, I want one, and I maybe want the Bobby Magallanes logo around it too.
Yeah. Actually, we give a testimony on that. This T-shirt's from a guy that Freddie Sandoval, who
sure.
He's another guy, that ex-player of mine that I managed in the minor leagues in A-ball and in Double-A. And after he retired, he became a mental skills coach, and he does that full time. And this is his logo. And so he sent me a T-shirt, and I wear it. He inspired this. Talk about people. How about this? How about the student inspiring the teacher to get his degree and everything? And he inspired me to go on to get my degree. This is a guy that I coach. So I mean, you never know. We learn from everybody. And again, that's another inspiration. Someone who influenced me, a guy that I taught and I coach, inspires me now to move on.
Yeah. Yeah, I coached Freddie as well, obviously, right? He was with us with the Angels, and
Yeah.
great, great young man. He's also a testament of what we always have that in a great teammate, right? We always talk
Yes.
about the card, coachability, adaptability, responsibility. He takes it on, and then dependability. He does it time and time again. I think Freddie went up to high A ball, double A ball. The skill set kind of topped out for Freddie, but he did everything we ever asked as coaches. We loved to have athletes. We love to have team members like that. And it's often the kind of players that you and I end up saying, oh, Freddie Sandoval, I'll take 10 more just like him. Well, well, coach, he's not the biggest. He's not the best. Well, hey, listen, all he does for me is show up and work hard. And when I ask him
Yeah.
to do something, he gets it done, right?
All right. Right. Yeah. Again, and look what he's doing. And, he's also, he's a really good mental skills coach. So that's another guy that people can go to.
Nice. All right. Well, Bobby, thrilled that you're here today, man. Let's jump into it with tell us the most impactful pivot point you had as a kid. Like you got a brother, your brother played pro ball too, coached. He also Wander still coaches, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
they play in the big leagues too.
Yep. So you guys are a family of baseball. Like, was there an impactful moment, like you said, hey, this is what I want to do. We're on our path to set and do this, and we can do it no matter the obstacle.
Well, I'll tell you where it kind of was for me. It was in elementary school, and there was a time. I was, like you said, I was born in a baseball family, so I had the genes in me, had the passion in me. I loved baseball since I was a little kid. But I always saw the big league guys, playing, and I said, man, I want to do that someday. When I was a little kid, I want to be a major league player someday. I just had that passion. That's what I want to do for a living. So, but I think what really inspired me, and I'm going to do it, and I was stubborn with it, was I was in elementary school, and I don't know if you guys remember when you're in elementary school, there's a day where the teacher says, okay, today we're going to talk about what you want to be in life, what you want to do in life when you get older. So the teacher went around the room and says, okay, Billy, what do you want to do? I want to be a police officer. Okay, why? Because I want to protect people. I want to help the community. Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, Maria, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to be a nurse. Why? Because I want to take care of people. Oh, okay, so everyone. Good. So after a couple kids, they get to me, Bobby, what do you want to do? I'm going to be a professional baseball player. And she goes, and she kind of chuckled, and she goes, Bobby, that's not a job. That's a sport. I go, no, I'm going to be a professional baseball player. And she chuckled and laughed, and then the kids start kind of laughing too, because I kept saying that. And I remember that she goes, Bobby, no, that's someday you're gonna have to have a job and do something, and that's just a sport. That's not. And oh my gosh, I remember me getting upset because remember she chuckled, laughed. And it's like, you can't do that. And I went, what? And so, I mean, as it can tell the way I'm talking about it, that was like a moment with me, like, you know what, I'm going to show you. Yes. And I remember telling her, the teacher, well, let me tell you something. I said, I forgot what name I used. I grew up a Dodger fan in LA. So I think I said Steve Garvey or whatever. I said, look, he's making $1 million, which is $1 million more than what you're making. So, I'm like, I told her that. And so that inspired. So I remember that after that, I go, you know what, I'm going to prove that we can make a living out of this. And, whatever, 40 years later, I'm still in it.
Isn't that awesome, man? Like it's that driver that sets in our heart, right? Like, listen, this is what I want to do. And I have a very similar story to people telling me no. And, it was a big chip that kind of got on my shoulder and was like, I'll show you, and I don't know if it was always positive, right? It was definitely a driver. It worked. There was some negative side of it too. Not that I ever went back and went, hey, everybody, I don't know if you know or not. It all worked out for me, like I don't think I've ever done that for sure. But man, I know that like at that time, I just remember just being angry that someone would tell me no. And
right.
My breakout was when I was with a fellow former major leaguer, and he told me I had what it takes. And that was so valuable for me, man. That changed things for me. And I said to him, hey, man, with all due respect, like everybody's telling me I'm not fast enough, not big enough, not strong enough. And all I'm hearing is I'm not enough. And he said, his most valuable advice to me at that time when I was a young man, like 15 years old, said, "Hey, Trent, I'm going to give you one piece of advice. Like, any of those other people play in the major leagues?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "I really caution you where you take your advice from." And man, I have lived by that in business, in relationships, in sport, everything. Like, I want to know about hitting. I'm getting Bobby on the phone. Like, I want to know, like, what this guy who's like, "Hey, I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night." Like, come on, man. Like, I want to go to the source, and I want
You're right.
people that know, right?
You're right.
So
You're right.
I love the quote by Chris McChesney and Sean Covey: "Winners, when shown data that they are losing, find a way to win." Let's talk a bit about your background. I mean, that allowed you to overcome, become one of those 1%ers in sports and life. Like, it is not easy. And that's a number that we probably heard as kids, like, "Oh, you know what the odds are of you being in the major leagues and all those things." It's rare air. Yeah. All got it. What was one of the times you were up against it, losing, down but not out, and you found a way to come back and win?
Well, I can just share my life. I mean, what number one is when you have a goal and you have passion and you believe in yourself and you believe that, what, I can do this if I just get the chance. There's stubbornness. Again, I like to research things and researching, very successful people, not only in sports, but it can be in business, it can be in anything.
Yeah.
They're stubborn in a good way, not a bad way. They're stubborn, which means that they will not take no as an answer. It's like, I'm going to fight, and they will fall. They will, run up against a brick wall. They will hurt themselves and everything, but they do it because they know that if I climb this wall, once I get over this, I can be that person, or I can achieve my goal.
Yeah.
And with me, it was just that. It was like, I wanted to prove myself. I can do this if someone just gives me the opportunity. And so there wasn't really like a pivotal moment. There were so many moments, so many scars, so many tears, so many, shedding of blood. It was like moments where, I can tell, what I went through. I got released 4 times.
Yeah.
3 surgeries. I've been to 3 surgeries.
People don't understand that, right? Released is being fired. Okay. That's
fired.
What happens there. Like, they're saying, like, we're releasing you. And so if I could jump in for a second.
Go ahead.
It's a gigantic testimony to you, because when most people are released, they do not sign another professional baseball contract. They often go to the independent leagues. They may have other options and other things, but other teams will not pick them up unless they have a testament to their character, their perseverance, their willingness to continue and continue to grind, and a testimonial from those they're coming from that says, this guy will make people better around him.
Yeah. And so again, I would get jobs, and I would get released, and it was like, gosh, and just one after another, like, well, what's going on? Why is this happening? And then multiple injuries, 3 surgeries. The last one I had was reconstruction of my shoulder, and I rehabbed for 18 months. And during that 18-month rehab, I wanted to quit many times because it was so painful. And I go, really, is it worth it? And as a matter of fact, I wanted to come back. I wanted to go back to school, and go on and move on with my life. But, I kept grinding, going through it. So, you know what? I still have hope. Like, there's still a strand, there's still a little thing I can hold on to that I can still realize my dream. And so I would wear it. I would just go through all the pain and emotionally and physically. So anyway, I was released 4 times and multiple injuries and surgeries and rehabs and all that. And something, I didn't play in the major leagues after 12 years. It was all minor leagues. And I go into coaching, same thing. You persevere. And something, after 31 years of being in the minor leagues, I finally made it to the big leagues. And it took 31 years. This is my 32nd year pro ball. I was with our team last year, and this is my first time officially as a major league coach. And it took 32 years, and it's funny because there was a person saying, "Man, you're moving quickly, man. This and that." I go, "Yeah, it took 32 years to be an overnight success."
Exactly. Yes.
It's like that people had no idea. Like, man, you're young, you're moving quickly. I go, you have no idea what I've gone through and how to get here. And that's my story. It's like, it's perseverance, really. And so is it one pivotal moment? Not at all. It was so many. I mean, you gotta stumble, fall, get up. It's when you mention what's a a quote and something, that kind of gets you over the hump. With me, it's a quote by I forgot who it was. Really, I don't know who it is. It says, "It's only a lump of coal." A lump of coal is the ugliest rock. It's an ugly rock, a coal. But that lump of coal, it's only through consistent pressure and heat that lump of coal becomes a diamond.
Yeah.
And diamond is the most precious rock. So it's like, I went through that like no one's business to finally, bam, here we are, which I praise God about. But it's not easy, and it goes through a lot, but that's what shapes us. That's what forms us. That's what prepares us to get to that moment.
Yes. I love it. And I tell you, man, it's, I think let's talk about one thing in that you mentioned that I think is really important, which is once you did a surgery and rehabbed and came back, it's a huge trial. But once you've done it once, there's confidence in the fact that, hey, I've done it before. I can do this again. I know how to do it. Talk to us about that.
Well, again, it hurt. I mean, the first surgery I had was a shoulder surgery, and you don't know what to expect because I never had surgery, and I didn't really fully recover. I had ankle surgery as well. I recovered from that, and then the last surgery was the 18-month rehab surgery where they reconstructed my shoulder, and it's pain. And not only is there pain physically, but emotionally. It's like, am I ever going to play again? My dreams are shot because I was young at the time. I'm 20. I believe I was 23 years old when I had that surgery, 23, 24. So I'm still young. And so, I mean, all those things come to mind. And again, it's after you get done with that, you're like, wow, I'm glad I did it. But during that time, you're just like, no,
this is awful.
I wanted to quit. I wanted to quit. I really wanted to quit. There were times when it's not worth it. It was so painful physically, but it was painful emotionally, mentally. It really, I mean, you're like, gosh, when you felt, okay, it's finally there, and all of a sudden setbacks. And I had so many of those during the rehab.
Yeah.
And I'm going, you know what? It's just not worth it. And actually the doctor told me that the chances of me coming back to playing were very slim because it was a new surgery that he had performed on athletes. But anyways, yeah, it's during those times. It's only during those times that that at the end of the tunnel, after it's all said and done, that is what forms you. It's like, I mean, Trent, you know a lot about physical training. I mean, yes. you were one of the best that there is in terms of sports training. And I mean, like for a muscle to grow, it's got to tear down. That's and right. Then rebuild. And then it keeps you tearing and rebuilding. Well, that's how we are as people. It's like we got to kind of be torn down a little bit to keep growing and get better. And that's how our faith grows. And that's how we grow as people.
Yes, that is it. So let's talk about that 1%, that superpower that separates you from the rest of the 1%. What is it that so many people, I mean, won't face that hardship? They will not face that discomfort. That, I mean, and the physical anguish, and I think you've really touched this really well. The physical anguish of a rehabilitation, because I had my shoulder redone too, right? And that's something. But we've all dealt with physical pain for a long time as athletes, so that wasn't so uncommon. It wasn't new. The mental is really painful, especially
yes.
for us who are always. I was edgy like you, man. I mean, I was always looking. You know what I look like. I don't look like the major leaguers, right? So I was like, man, I got to do every single thing, and I can't miss one single opportunity. And when you're hurt, everyone's getting opportunity. You have no ability to progress when you were on the injured reserve or disabled list in any league and at any level. Like everyone else is getting reps. They're getting the chances to get better. There's opportunity that's coming. And there's all sorts of stories about the player who was like, oh yeah, this one guy got hurt. And then the other guy went in and the rest is history, right? Like he's been the starter for 15 years, and it's like, oh, that was my position. But at the time I rolled my ankle and I was out, or, like all these stories. What do you think that superpower is for you that was able to separate you?
My passion, number one, for the sport, but also my stubbornness.
Yes.
It was like, oh no, you should quit. You should. And I was stubborn about this. And no, Bobby, look, like, man, it's really not working out right now. You should try something. And I was like, no, like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to persevere. And the perseverance is just, the perseverance is something that I think God put in me, that he put that spirit in me, is like, to persevere, because I went through a lot in a lot of areas.
Yeah.
And it's a stubbornness. It's my pride. It's like, you know what, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna find a way. And the only way that it's not gonna work is that, they just take it away from me, because I'm gonna, as long as I'm breathing, I'm gonna keep working hard. I'm gonna try to realize what I want to do. And so I think the separate for me, the 1% you talk about, is that stubbornness. It's that, what, no, it doesn't matter. You can throw whatever you want at me. And I'm at that moment, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna taste sour. Those moments are bad. But you know what? I'm gonna go through that, because I know I'm gonna be better in the long run. And when I get there, that's when you're gonna taste the fruit of it.
Yeah, I think we have some great examples out there in the market. And for all you parents, I want to just say right here, if you have a strong-willed child and they're giving you grief, you may have a Bobby Magallanes or a Trent Clark or a, head of Apple or an MMA champion, because there are examples of these strong-willed children. And you could call, I like it, stubborn. The PC is, he's just strong-willed. Right? He's a little stubborn, little punk is what he is, right? No. He is strong-willed. And I tell you that when you talk about the founders of this country, you talk about your entrepreneurs now who create new products, new way to do something better. They've been told no. They've been told it's not going to work. And yet that strong will is like, I'm going to find a way to make it work. Right. And we're back to the incandescent light bulb. Well, I figured out, whatever, 2,412 ways not to do it. I'm finding the one, right? I'm going to find the one that I know how to do it. And I'm going to keep running the tests. Right. And so there is a value in this. And I could tell you from having one of these kids, it is not easy, parents. It is not easy, but these kids are going to set the world ablaze. You may just have yourself a Bobby Magallanes on your hands. And when I talk about with these folks that I know, right, in my world, who now run $100, million companies, and I'm like, and they're like, well, I was arrested twice. And, I was like, holy crap, man, what were you doing? He's like, I was just testing limits all the time. And I didn't know right from wrong yet. I was testing it. I was working in gray areas. I had to learn, man, integrity matters. And how do I direct this strong will to the right way? You've directed that strong willingness in your faith. Let's talk a little bit about that, because, man, to me, that's another big superpower of yours, because no matter whatever happened for you, Bobby, like good or bad, man, you were right back there to your foundation, and that would never waver.
Yeah. And again, it's I got a strong-willed child too. My daughter, she's the oldest, and she's going to be a rock star. She's going to be a superstar in life, because she's got that. And it's been tough raising her. But I look at myself and I go, she's going to get it. She is, because she's the type of person where she will find a way. She's like, no, she won't take no for an answer. She wants to use no, because when she puts her mind to it, she's going to go get it. Yeah. But it's successful people do that. Again, when we research okay, what makes Steve Jobs what he is? And
Yeah.
what he did was, you know what? I want to change the world. That's what he said. That's his model. That's Apple's model, is like change the world. And he did it.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, he was stubborn, very stubborn guy. But look
right.
where we're at right now without him. If it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be doing this Zoom call right now, you know? And
right.
But yeah, so it's this technology. We're doing this podcast right now. But anyways, the point is that, yeah, I mean, those successful people have that stubbornness in them, where like they don't take no for an answer, because they really believe in themselves, and they believe in that if they get the opportunity, they can be something.
Yeah. So let's not relive the journey and the challenge of it all, but let's talk about, let's just revisit it for a minute. When you're down, when you're out, was there any one thing, like, hey, if you had to go through it again today, that you would have done differently, that you would have maybe pivoted from a value or a mindset, or, you've done a lot of work in that post all this career, and in the middle of it, like in your coaching, you've done all sorts of work on performance psychology and different things, and performances always don't go the way we want. Often our opponents have a lot to do with that, right? But our preparation, all these things. Looking back on the injury, the challenge of it all, when you were down, would you be thinking something differently and going through it in maybe a different way today with what you know now?
I think if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't have worried as much. I worried a lot. What the future? What if this happens? What if I don't do it? What if I don't get healthy? What am I going to do? I'm only 23 years old. I don't have nothing. I don't have education. How am I going to live? What am I going to do for a living? Because I put all my hope in baseball. And if I can do it all over again, I wouldn't have worried as much. And I also would have, if I had to do it all over again, I would have had a plan B, which I didn't have one. Because again, being stubborn, being a person like, we would tell me, you got to get an education. I'm going to be a major league player. Yeah, but no, I'm going to do it. I don't care. No, I'm not taking no for an answer. I don't need education. This is what I'm going to do. I put it all in that. And now looking back, again, I probably would have worried less, because worrying takes a lot out of you. And it's like, man, you know what, things are going to work out. A lot of energy. Yeah, it sapped it out of me. And also worrying, and this through being a strength conditioning coach, is that it leads to injuries as well. When we worry a lot, a stress leads to injuries. And I got injured a lot, so I wouldn't have stressed as much. And people say, okay, don't stress. It's tough not to. It's just like, this is what I feel. But now what I know now, I'd have been like, you know what, I wouldn't have worried as much, and I would have had a plan B. Which at that time, again, people as myself with my personality type and everything, we're stubborn. And it's like, no, I'm set on that. But you got, and it's like, I'm set on that. And we overcome it. We do overcome it. But man, we bang ourselves a lot. We will bump up against walls. We'll break bones. We'll be in the hospital and all that. But you know what? We made it to the finish line with scars, but we made it,
Yeah. Well, I tell you, you just enjoying this journey. I so appreciate that. And just a quick look into the rearview mirror. And I got to tell you, I don't necessarily agree with you. I do agree with you on the worry. There's a huge factor of distress versus eustress, right? And worry puts us into distress, and distress. I love Twain's quote. I spent 90% of my life worrying about things that never happened. Right. And I'm like, right. Like it's a waste of our energy. And you do not have, if you are looking to be elite, you do not have the time or the energy to spend over looking at things that are out of your control. Being present and being focused on what you need to do is absolutely ultimately critical. And what he's describing was that worry takes away from that, even if it's 2 reps in your therapy, every day it's 2 reps on this exercise, 2 exercise. He's adding 2 weeks to his recovery with those 2 reps, right? Like every day he's adding 2 weeks until he gets back on the field. So is that distress that he's self-creating helping him? No way. Now on plan B, I got to tell you, Bobby, you'll appreciate this, man. I look back at my college career and go, I wish I would have studied less. I should have been in the cage more. I should have been, training more. I should have been more focused, because no one cared that I was on the president's list and a top student. No one ever asked for my grades at the bank. Like when I really come back to it, I think like, man, I think part of a lot of folks with a plan B is a catch net, and there's no looking down and there's no looking back if you don't have a plan B, because there's no catch net. So you find a way to walk the high wire, because the other option is death, and it's too much to even consider. So I have seen a lot of folks without a plan B. And listen, I'm on the fence, Bobby. I was a plan B guy. Okay, I was. And I'm on the fence, which is the way to go. I really don't know yet. I'd love to hash that out. You might be on that panel one of these days, because we need to hash that out, man, because there are both sides of that story, and I'm not sure. The jury's out for me.
Yeah. Well, for me, plan B was being prepared.
Yes.
And I wasn't back then.
Yeah.
Again, it's later in life where I finally got prepared. Yeah. And that's when it kind of like, okay, but I just wasn't, I just went through it. I winged it, you know, and that's what I meant by plan B. It's like, okay, I got to get prepared.
Yep.
Because when the opportunity comes, I got to be prepared for that.
Yep.
You know, success comes when here's opportunity, here's preparation. All of a sudden, man, when they meet, that's when success comes. But if it goes like that, I'm like, man, I wasn't prepared. Goes the opportunity.
Yep.
You know, so that what I meant by plan B is more the preparation, that you being prepared.
Good. I like that. That's a good. I appreciate you, qualifying that very distinctly, specifically breaking that down, because I think that's huge. And I tell a lot of people the story of a AA player that has to be positioned right now. You have to be prepared in all things, because you are one moment away from the major leagues at any moment.
Right.
And this any risk of I missed curfew, so I couldn't play today. So the scout from the Dodgers missed you, and they wanted to take a look at a second baseman because they know they got a person down and they're ready to make a trade. And all they're hearing about is you, and you missed the day they were there. But I caught the next day with the Padres. I'm a shortstop. And, I did catch the next day when the Padres saw me. And right now with their 20-year-old superstar, I don't think they're looking for one, right? Like, they don't need one for 10 years with their guy, right? So the Padres, they're not even looking at my position now as a shortstop. So it's this, you've got to be in the right place at the right time. And your positioning is all about how well you're prepared to see that opportunity. It also creates massive amounts of focus. When we're prepared, we actually know when a good opportunity is inside our lens, and we know when a bad opportunity enters our lens, because we're like, whoa, what's that doing here? You don't belong here. And we know it because we're focused on where we're going, and we're looking for the right opportunity, and we know what the wrong opportunity looks like. And we say, oh, you've got to get out of here. I'm moving this way. Where when people are not prepared, they're like, oh, that's an opportunity. I don't know if it's a good or a bad one. Well, let me go get distracted with that for 2 or 3 years. 2 or 3 years, like, oh, it turned out it was the wrong one. Let me go back, get on my path again. Like, whoa. I tell a lot of companies, organizations, if we're really going to progress, let's progress 6 steps up, 1 step back. Meaning we're taking enough risk that we got to take a step back sometimes, right? Like, that didn't work. We're pushing the envelope of doing things right. The very ultra conservative, we're not going to take any risks. I'm going to go 2 steps up, 1 step back, 2 steps up, 1 step back. Listen, this is a long way up, man. Like, I don't know when you're looking to get there, but like, this is going to be a long haul. We have got to be more efficient. And of course, you and I both know organizations that are going 1 step up and 3 steps back, right? And they're never getting there. They have no chance.
Yeah.
All right. One value, belief, action that you took when you were down that turned things around for you.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, my faith in Jesus Christ is, I think, what really has helped me to get to where I'm at. I mean, and that's really not what I think I know. It's I don't know where I would be without that, because once faith is lost and hope is lost, I mean, it's all lost. And my hope and my faith was in Christ, that you know what, he's got a plan for my life. He's going to be with me no matter what happens. There's something good going to come out of this, and he's so I think that's one.
Yeah, huge. By the way, I might consider that also a pretty strong plan B, by the way. Like, if you're talking about prep, like, hey, if you know that that's always with you, no matter, whether you're going to be out of this, washing cars and going back, trying to, feed the kids and get your degree at that point. You were wise enough, I think, to do this while you were still in pro baseball, taking advantage of your off season, taking advantage of new online learning. You really persevered through that. But yeah, I think I'm pretty confident you would have found a way. I'm pretty confident.
Yeah. I mean, I would have. Yeah. Again, like we talked earlier, it's like when I put my mind to something, it's like I'm pretty stubborn. Like, I want to figure this out. And again, going back, get my degree in midlife, it was tough. It was scary. It was like, can I do it? Can I not do it? I mean, I doubted myself. I did. I doubted it.
Yeah.
And it was hard at the beginning, but you know what? Little by little, I started getting the hang of it, and I ended up getting my bachelor's. And all of a sudden, like, okay, let's go for the master's now, and here we are.
Yeah, that lifelong learner, I think, really, is a separator for great coaches, right? Great leaders understand lifelong learning, and you have a master's, and I know you're not stopping, because every time we talk, we're no longer talking about athletes. We're talking about the authors, right? Who wrote this and who wrote that, and who can give us good information. We exchange a lot of information, you and I. So let's talk about that for a minute. Information and education. I mean, I think the last stat I saw was 3% of major leaguers have a college degree. And how about that staggering stat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most people are high-level athletes at a very young age. There's a lot of international, so that brings a different education level, because we just have different schooling and way we do schools. But man, most in baseball don't choose back to school. Why did you choose that?
Like I said earlier about plan B, I wanted to keep getting better.
Yeah.
I wanted to have options. I wanted to have more. It would open up more doors for me, is what I said. Like, you know what? I want to do this. But I'll tell you a thing that really, really hit home is when I was with the Cleveland Indians at the time, coaching, and actually I started my bachelor's when I was with the Chicago, coaching the Chicago White Sox organization. But I started to understand that, you know what, I want to get better as a coach, as an instructor, because I knew that where the game was going. The game was going now to other levels. You're going, wait a minute, there's a lot of educated people now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to stay ahead of the curve. That's another thing. It's like, I did not want to be here. Again, I want to learn. I want to get better. So I ended up getting my bachelor's in management, which is in leadership, which is, I think, to me, I feel like that's a quality of mine.
Yeah.
And so I learned a lot about people, how to handle people, how to have organizations in groups and all that. And after that, again, I was with the Cleveland Indians, and being with them, they were very growth mindset organization.
Yes.
That's another area that growth mindset is huge. That's where I'm like, I want to have a growth mindset. It means I want to keep learning. I don't want to have a fixed mindset where, like, oh, that's just the way I am. I was born that way. You know what? That's just what I know. No, I want to keep growing and keep learning. So with them, it came the opportunity to get my master's degree, and performance psychology was something I was interested in because of what I went through as a player. I was really hard on myself. I overthought things. I didn't know how to handle the mental part of it. That hurt me as a player. And I go, okay, I want to learn that. I want to be able to help the players out that I coach with the mental part, and to learn that, to help them, realize and fulfill their dreams as major leaguers. So that's where I came on board. It's like, I had a growth mindset, and I was taught that by the Cleveland Indians as well. And it really was interesting. So that's where I wanted to get my education, was because I wanted to grow. I want to keep getting better. And I know where the game is going. It's like, we need to get better. We need to stay on top of the game, because the way analytics are, the way technology is, it's going, that's where the direction of the game is going. And I need to stay on top of that as well to keep getting better and help these players out. But that's where it came from. And again, it's the growth mindset is, to me, that's what the successful people have that.
Yes.
You know, in leadership, as you talk, right now you mentioned leadership. I believe in a person that's a leader is a learner. The first thing a leader is a learner. You know, before someone can lead, you have to learn.
Yep.
You know, and then once you learn, then you can put that to practice, and you start leading people. So it's leaders are learners, and I want to keep learning. I'm still learning. I mean, I'm still reading books. As of right now, we're going. I'm still reading books on not only leadership, but also on the mental part, which I think that's something that I really have learned a lot more in the last couple of years, especially through my master's degree.
That's awesome. You've had a lot of success, Bobby. You a lot of games, you've won a lot of things, had some setbacks. What's the best battle that you've conquered in your lifetime?
Oh man, I think the battle really is my battling my failures, how to overcome failure. To me, that if that's a battle that I've conquered, is with myself.
Yeah.
I would beat myself up all the time, very hard on myself. I'm going, man, like any little thing, I'd be like, it's like trying to back for time. There was a guy, and I can't remember his name. It was a while back, a long time ago. I'm like, man, you're beating yourself up. Well, yeah, because I'm a perfectionist. And then he asked me, well, what do you do that's perfect? And I went, nothing. Okay, so you're not a perfectionist. And that made me think. I'm going, you're right.
Yeah.
And I'm going, I nothing. And that's the thing that I battle, is trying to be perfect, trying to please people. That's another thing, a battle of mine, is being a people pleaser. You cannot, God can't even please everybody, you know? Right. So it's like, those were my battles, my inner battles that I needed to be freed up from. And once I started going, you know what, man, again, my faith in Christ, my faith in God is like, I'm going to trust you. You got it handled. I'm going to put my part in terms of me being prepared for when an opportunity comes. And those were the battles I had.
Love it. Let's talk about the mirror. You mean you see these kids every day, you know, like, and we got to look in the mirror. You've done a lot of self-reflection, and one of the things I've heard in your self-reflection that you've really received from your preparation, from your further education, what I hear that maybe you didn't have when we were younger, when we were coaching, like when we were about 30, right? Starting young families.
Right.
We didn't have peace of mind, right? It sounds like you've got more peace of mind now because you've done the work. You've got fallback. You've got plan B. You started plan B at 40 to get the education, but like you've got that now.
Yeah.
You feel like you're enjoying the journey and there's more peace of mind. Do you feel that?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah. It's you're right. Now that I'm older, I definitely have changed. I definitely have lived. I've experienced. Fallen
50.
many
you know,
times.
No one thinks you're 50, looking older. Like, you know, when you say that, like,
yeah, I'm 50. Yeah.
I don't want to talk about looking older because you look 29. I don't know what's up with that, bro.
Oh man, praise God. I try to work out. I mean, I try. Sometimes I don't. I miss it, but yeah, it. Just getting back to that, it's something that I try to, look at myself and okay, all the setbacks I had. I look back right now. When we talk about peace, it just, it's really my again, Trent, it was my relationship with Christ. It's like He's a Prince of Peace. It's like, it says, don't be anxious about anything, but in everything, through prayer, petition, bring your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your heart, your mind, in Christ Jesus. The peace of Him, that's what's going to guard my heart and my mind. So it's like, I mean, I need Him. I mean, I go to Him. It's like, I can't do this on my own. And I go to Him in prayer. I go to Him, Lord, direct me today, guide me today, because I don't know what to do with this hitter today.
Yeah.
He's struggling, and everything I've tried is not working. Lord, give me something. You help me, because I can't. So that's the piece I have that I've given control up and trying to control everything, because when I try controlling it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
So if you look, so when you see people in the mirror, is that the thing they do? Is it the, hey, I'm not saying what I want, I'm going after this, it's my time, I can make it happen? They're not letting it go, they're not letting it happen. What do you see that people are struggling with that seems relatively overt, that maybe you struggled with yourself at times too, but you see it a lot? What do you think people are missing in the mirror?
I think what they're missing is being vulnerable.
Mm.
I think a lot of times it's like we don't want people to know our weak spots. We don't want them to know that, hey, I can't do this, or I'm, like something we just got to lay it down, be vulnerable. Hey, man, you know what? I just can't do it right now, man. Can you help me?
Yeah.
You know what? Right now, I need help, man. It's not working, man. Just, anything you can help with. And we're prideful. Again, pride, there's good in it, in terms of like, pride in terms of like, what, I got pride in doing a good job. Okay. Yeah. But that pride of thinking we can do it all when we can't, that's not good. Because now all of a sudden, man, we're going to have help that's on our way, and we're not going to want it.
Yeah.
Because, I can do it. I don't need it. I can do it on my own. And that's when we just like, and I was like that earlier in life. I was really, stubborn in ways. And again, it took a while. When I surrendered my life to Christ, that's when I surrendered everything. That's when I felt like there was just a weight off my shoulders. I'm going, oh my gosh, why didn't I do this a long time ago? It's like, he's in control of my life now. He's like, Lord, go ahead, direct me. I'm telling you, ever since then, he's just directing my paths. A verse of mine that I go to a lot is Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. And that's what I use a lot, where it's like, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and don't lean on your own understanding. Yeah, right? Acknowledge him in all your ways, and he will lead your path straight. It's like, don't lean on your own understanding. And that's why I go, am I doing it on my own? Yeah, you think you know it all. Like, Lord, and I don't.
Yeah. Matt Miesky and I, fellow, former major leaguer, now turned wealth manager.
Ex teammate of mine on Team USA.
Yeah, that's right. Matt's a great dude. I didn't know that. That's awesome. Matt and I had a great conversation about being proud of or self-pride, right? Like that difference between, it's great to be proud of something, but self-pride is a probably self-inhibitor, right? More than anything. So we had a great conversation between that. Let's talk about the last time. Now it's the time for the best way to win. Is there something that you want to share with the listeners that we did not touch on today? That, hey, if they're on their way to journey, they're on their way to win, what is the best advice? What's the best way for them to get to the winner's circle? What is the best way to get them forward and moving?
To me, failure is the best coach. And here's what I use, and I use it with my kids, and I use it with players. I don't use the word failure too much. We either win or we learn, but we don't fail.
I love it.
You're either going to get better or you're going to learn. Failure to me is learning. So you don't fail, you're learning.
Yeah.
And so we win or we learn, we don't lose.
Yeah.
And that's how I look at it.
Yeah, that is to me how you lose. If you lose and you don't get the lesson, you're a loser. You're gonna keep losing. It's gonna keep perpetuating. I don't know how many companies I've gone into and said, hey, we've lost on the last 8 proposals. Great, what have you learned? Oh, we don't look at it after, we don't get it. We just, re-up the next proposal. I'm like, wait, review the tapes. Like, let's see what happened. Like, what did they, have we called them back? Do we have an exit interview? Like, why didn't you choose us? What would you have liked to have seen? What did we do right? Like, no, we don't do that. What? Like, it's bonkers. I love that. All right, awesome, Bobby. Share your social media again. You're on LinkedIn. You're on Instagram at
Magallanes Bobby and Swing Ugly at Instagram.
Swing Ugly. I love it. Good. All right. Or should we look for a book anytime soon on performance psychology?
You know what? Trent, I think we talked about this in the past, but yeah, that's something I want to do. I'm starting to journal a little bit and gather all my thoughts, but yeah, it's something that I like to do. And because I think there's just so much to there's a lot to learn, and there's a lot that to give, especially my experiences in life, and also in education that can definitely help some people out. But I'm definitely looking forward to doing that one day.
Awesome. For us, follow the show on YouTube Live and many more videos on Leadershipity channel. I am at Leadershipity on Instagram and Twitter, also at Trent M Clark on most of the social medias. You can find me on LinkedIn at Trent M Clark. For our website, leadershipity.com, make sure you look for our upcoming book, The Pyramid of Leadershipity. DM or email me. Let me know what you think of this show. I'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed today's episode, please continue listening. Rate us 5 stars always, and follow us. Please subscribe. We try and work hard to deliver value each and every time. Bobby Magallanes did not fail to deliver. I mean, come on, the stubbornness, the perseverance. I had some great notes here on getting better all the time, the growth versus the fixed mindset. Being a perfectionist and a pleaser, and realizing, hey, how that's not serving you're
Right.
as a leader. And then, of course, the vulnerability and the willingness to ask for help. Bobby, you said your quote, your go-to when things are down. You talked about Proverbs a little bit, and you talked about, what was your first quote there that you talked about?
Yeah, it's only through consistent pressure and heat that a lump of coal becomes a diamond.
Yes. For me, I always think a lot about my guests for the week. Like, I have a week prep on who's my guest. And it's funny that, you hit this right out of the gate, right on your strong-willed, because I had, James 1:3, because the testing of your faith produces perseverance. And
Amen.
you've been tested many times, my man. And I am just honored to be a fellow friend, to be a brother. And just to know you, Bobby, to see you work, it's made me better as a coach, which helps me make other people better. So that is a gift you've given me. So I'm thankful.
Thank you, Trent. I appreciate it, buddy. It's always a pleasure, man.
Yeah. So for everybody else, please join us next Friday. We'll welcome Brad Stevens to the Winners Find a Way show. Brad is the owner of a executive assistant and outsourcing company with assets, many of them who are serving and helping companies in the Philippines. He's gone in there on a mission to change his culture, change things over there for the country, for people that can come out and be in a great culture and work. And even myself, I have people in my organization from his organization that are working with Leadershipity. So I am a testimony to his great program and what he's doing over there. I welcome Brad. He has got fabulous ideas, so it's going to be an awesome show. Look forward to seeing you then. For my guest, Bobby Magallanes, I'm Trent Clark, the host, Winners Find a Way, and we will see you next time. And we're out. All right, buddy. That's awesome. So you guys got the Phillies tonight.
Yeah.